Oh, I think I that one up too. Well, all of you seem to make it this far, so I guess you're stuck with this till the end. This video is going to be more on dedicated to the lighting of the saucer section. So on this beginning of the journey, we'll just start dealing with the interior lighting. We'll also deal with the interior lighting for the rec deck. I pre-glued it in only because needed to do some kind of testing on test fitting of the saucer and all the other crap. In other words, because I've seen some other people had problems with when it comes with the 3D printed part, that when you put the saucer on it, it's too tight. I just wanted to make sure that the piece that I made for this, I think back in video number 2, possibly, that there won't be no clearance problems. Good thing there isn't, but I did it, so I just put it in anyways. Nothing to miss, just a dab of glue on it, that's it. I also went ahead and put in just a couple windows. I put in also the window for the rec deck because heck, this is in here, I'm going to have to deal with that. And the window for the officer's lounge, which both windows is just a piece of pack-in plastic, the same thing as I did for the Arboretum windows. But I will end up going back later at some point and we'll solar res even the windows for here too, just because there's just a hairline gap in there. I could probably use canopy glue in there, but I think it would cause distortion or something. And same thing for in here, at least this way that the pack-in plastic, whatever, it will, you know, give it, you know, something on the back. Just for ducks, I just tried seeing if I can get the kit plastic to go with it. Was it going to fit for either one of them? Probably, because of the photo edge part. It just kind of doesn't make that happen, so it didn't bother anyways. I just wanted to see if it would work, but no, it didn't. So where we kind of need to start off with, I think the best thing to do is to deal with the main interior lighting. Over here, I already kind of pre-wired a bunch of the lighting just to save a lot of time. It pretty much took me all day to do it. But at least all we got to do is just lay it out and glue it in. So this little mess right here is the lighting for the saucer. So I just got to find which ones are correct. I have 2 sets of different sizes, pretty much because I'm going to wire them. I think it's called in series, whatever. I'm not going to do it in a chain only because when you do it in a chain, if one goes out, let's say like in the middle of the chain, all of them from that point on is going to go out. So if the first one goes out, the whole thing will go out. If for some reason something went out, it would be easier to find. But I doubt it will happen, but it just makes it easier. So I'm going to kind of put it up close. Just give me some CA ready. And you know what? I think we need to speed this thing along here because it'll take forever just watching me glue. But, well, I guess we might just do it and start off this video right with a motherfucking time lapse.
Wow, stupid time lapse. How about 2 locks for everybody?
Sorry that I had to subject you to that very awful long time lapse. But it is what it is. So let's go through of what happened during that god awful time lapse. So we'll just go ahead and start with the perimeter lighting that is done. Obviously it's a jumbled mess, but you know, most of it you're not going to be able to see. Remember, all of these are tied in individually. I did not want to do it in a chain, which would eliminate a lot of this. But like I mentioned before, let's say you started here and this one went out, means this one, all the way till it ends would go out. If something were to happen, one of them would go out and the rest of the interior could probably possibly, you know, light through the windows. And if you notice during the time lapse, I had to go back and re-grind some of this. I didn't grind enough of it out because I got to remember, which I did forget, that this one LED has got to shine both ways, not just below, but up. And with the RCS thrusters, it also has to shine out. So mostly I needed it with that way too. So that's pretty much where we're at on that. Speaking of some of the nav lights, which we have here, one thing I noticed, which is weird, you know, I've tried a couple LEDs off camera. I ended up having to replace the green. To me, it looked not as bright. I tried it with a couple different resistors. I had the same luminosity, but when you start going to lower ohm resistors, and in my theory, because you know the higher ohms, it will reduce more power, but on lower, it'll only take so much, and the resistor will get hot. It didn't increase the luminosity, but it just doesn't seem as bright as the rest of them. So what I'm thinking I may have to do is when I put the saucer in, is just get a piece of fiber optic and let it come in contact till it gets to the flush part of the saucer, and it'll probably, you know, kind of like, you know, more like force feed light into it. But other than that, the rest of it looks fine. I already went ahead and light blocked around the light, so some of it don't feed back into here and out through the windows. Down in here, I have already my light in for the officer's lounge. Just a couple 0805 SMDs. It's made to kind of like look like overhead, but from above the window facing in. Over here, I'm actually using warm white to light up the rec deck. I want to give it that look like, not like they're having a party in there, but kind of like some of the lights are off, kind of like, hey, it's in midnight mode, whatever. Basically, the crew is busy, you know, doing God knows what, instead of going around and f***ing off. So let's see, anything else intriguing on this part? Oh yeah, these are just to illuminate the bottom part of the saucer through the windows. This is the main power. And right now I just have all of them tied in just for check. So I guess from now is we can now start moving forward. And one of the things I want to do, I also noticed, is the lighting through the windows here, because there's so many of these windows close together, it's like looking through a screen. So you'll be able to easily see this mess in here. I know I sure did. But my usual window diffusion trick, either like sanding it, ain't going to really work because I got the sensor band out here, and you can't in here. There's just, you can't do anything about it. So actually what I came up with, and I did test, is if you get some polystyrene, I have like, you know, some of my different thickness pieces. I got the thinnest sheet that I actually have. It's really, really thin, paper thin. I cut out strips, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to place it and glue it in front of every window, and it brings in that even white light, but you won't be able to see through here and see this jumble mess. So I'm going to end up gluing a bunch of these into here. That one I'll do off camera, but just, you know, in front of every window all the way around. You'll see when it's done. Right now, I guess we can glue in the officer's lounge just to get rid of that, take care of that one little thing. Obviously, I also did off camera, did any pre-paint scraping off any parts that have to be glued. Okay. Oop. Went too fast. That's okay. Clean it out. Use my finger. Right, let's set the officer's lounge in here. Hold that. You can always take a little bit of CA just for the heck of it and just, yeah, I'll do that. Only just to keep it in place for now. Maybe I'll put it right here. It's kind of like glue-on clamp, basically. The mono glue is really what's going to seal it. Okay, so my rec deck is in, or sorry, it already is in. Officer's lounge is in. That's one step done. So maybe we can actually kind of deal with, let me see. Yeah. Let's talk about the impulse engines, because I'm going to have to do that before I deal with the impulse crystal. So it's already been light blocked. I did my other diffusion thingy, you know, with my clear adhesion promoter, which kind of also diffuses a little bit, and spray both sides with matte clear. So it diffused this like how I like it. And of course, this is already all pre-cleaned and ready to go. And I also have my photo etch pieces already almost pre-painted. Right here, that actually goes in the front. When you get the photo etch kit, there are like 2 sets in there. If you're going to use the kit piece, it's going to be the largest one of them, and the other one, like I have right here, this one's meant for like the aftermarket resin printed. Doesn't quite actually fit for this one. What they both also have in common, about like, let's use something as a pointer. About right in here, it's thinner. You kind of want to get your LEDs aimed like right there. I kind of actually used this one as a guide when comparing both of them. So I did with the one I'm not going to be using. I just made sure it was like lined up at the top edge, like here. And I went ahead with a piece of chalk and just made a little mark on where I see the opening. And that's where I know, like in here, I need to have my LED point right at that. But at the same time, I mean, there are different ways you can go about putting the LED. You can glue a piece of sprue as a way to hang it up. But I want to kind of make like a little bit of a light box. So again, with another piece of polystyrene sheet, and I used a thicker one, I made a little guy like this, just by laying it out and tracing it to the back side on this. The hard part was trying to figure out exactly where these are going to go. Mostly it's just kind of putting it in place in front of it and eyeballing it and just looking at it. Might actually have to take a couple tries at it. But this one I got it just right the first time. I light blocked one side and white on the other. The white side is going to be inside where the LED is, so kind of help bounce the light around. But I still got to wire up the LEDs for that. And I'm going to actually do it on here because I'm not going to have much room because of the crystal in here. So that's where we kind of stand on that. The crystal part though is there is like, you know, a pretty good, I think, I don't remember who makes it, Shapeways or somebody makes a light box for this. It's actually a pretty good thing, but I'm not going to do that. I kind of made my own little thing kind of based off that. But first, this thing here, I just also did both sides adhesion promoter of the clear adhesion promoter and the matte clear, also to diffuse this a little bit. And I kind of made my own little light box here. What I did was same polystyrene that I used to make the kind of like the thing for the impulse crystal. Just lay the crystal over it, trace around it, cut a circle, get a center, cut an opening about the same diameter as the LED you're using, which in this case it is a 5mm. And I glued a washer that happened to have the same opening like right in the center of it, so gave it a little bit of a lip and a place to hold on to. And on this side of it, just for the heck of it, I painted it. I sprayed a little white on it, and I just like painted on some like craft paint crystal stuff on it, so probably won't even make a difference. I did it on the deflector dish, but give it like a little weird little reflectionist, kind of make it a little spacey if it works. If not, then it's really kind of pointless. What we can actually do here is actually kind of place this even before the LED. So And this is already cleaned out, so let's get some glue. I think I'll just glue on this first. Make sure your paint is cleaned out in here too, or it's going to be a really tight fit because it already kind of is tight. So that's in place. Of course, this one I have to scrape a little bit because I was waiting for paint to dry. So just gonna, here, we'll set this aside. Just scrape a little bit around the edge just to remove that paint so the model glue can take it. Model glue works best on just clean plastic surface, no paint, no nothing. Doesn't have to be pretty because you're not going to really see it. Okay. Now some more model glue. Now I'm going to look at it through the light and just make sure it is centered. Probably just take a little flashlight just to make sure. Yep. So there's my little thing here, and just for an example, here's just a random, well, actually I'm going to use these for the impulse. By the way, I'm using amber LEDs as opposed to red, because in the motion picture and in Star Trek 6 the impulse is orange. See, this is just a little bit fatter, but it's okay because you can always bend. Here, basically, this is the bicolor. It's already kind of pre-wired. I could always just bend these down just to hold them up. So with that, I'm going to set the saucer to the side now, and I'm going to work on getting the LEDs for the impulse pre-wired on this. That's going to take some time because, you know, doing soldering is a mother. And then when I get that done, we'll put the impulse engine together. So I just finished making my little housing for the impulse engines. Here's how I just did it. Just connected literally these two LEDs together and put a wire to each one of them. This is not supposed to be resisted. So it's something to keep in, you know, pay attention to when it comes to testing. It's like, hey, don't throw 9 volts at it or you're screwed. So I guess right now we can start putting in the impulse engine. So start throwing down some glue. Some glue over there, which goes this way. Goes that way, yeah. And I'll throw some glue over here. Look at it, see if I need to do some tape, which looks like I do. tape. You can already see some putty work happening. I should maybe just do it in the middle first. Put this part down. Little sanding work there, some glue seepage. Tell you one side I got some thin putty work. Going to have some thin putty work on this side. Over here looks good though. Okay. So let that set up for a while before we can put this in, but we can go ahead and just, while we're here, just go ahead and lay this sucker out. This guy is going to be a little bit tougher, so just fold it nice and flat. There we go. And this is just throw up some CA. Let's zap it. Well, at least right now, we can actually test how the impulse crystal will kind of look. And about this 30 gauge wire alligator clips just kind of don't like it that well. Oh, it is what it is. Oh, see, we got a blue light. Let's see if I can do it without this thing coming apart. Oh, yeah. That looks good. So let's try the amber. Why ain't you turn it on? Because I did test it before. Ain't that weird? Maybe if I just go, huh? You did work before. Why ain't you working now? I wonder if it went bad on me. That would suck. That would suck. Be right back. We're having technical difficulties. Well, kind of, sort of. I think I figured out the problem. At first, I was like thinking, okay, it could be the piece that I made because, like I said, I used the washer. Well, the washer is metal, and when I folded it flat, it basically shorted the whole thing out. Even though I did have it painted, I was like thinking maybe that'll be enough, but But probably not. After when it started getting CA glued on there, it pulled some of the paint away and then basically made it conductive. So I had a spare, another one, but this time I put like electrical tape over it, made a hole, so that's fine. And I went ahead and put heat shrink all the way up, so there should be no chance of any metal on contact or whatever. Put it in, it was working fine. And then the amber, and again the amber one shorted out. I heard it, but there was no metal on metal contact. I'm running on my power supply at 3 volts. These ones should be fine at 3.2 to 3.6, but this was my last spare, so I'm out of the bicolor. I just ordered some right now on HDA Modelworks, but depending on when that gets here, this part is temporarily on hold. I think I'll remake this anyways out of 100% polystyrene in the meantime, but at least this way I'll get a pack of 10, so I have 9 to fuck up. So the only thing to do on is just move on and do something else. Of course I can't deal with that yet because that's still freshly glued, but what I did in the meantime is I went ahead and put my little strips in, and here, which is kind of, I wonder if it'll show up on camera. Sorry I don't have a before and after, but believe me, I was able to see all this crap. So maybe we'll be able to do it like this. Yeah, that's probably a good view. See, it's all just nice and white. And honestly, if it was like one little hole, no big deal, because it would be hard to see in. But when you have all these open and so close to each other, it's like looking through a screen door. You'll see through it. And believe me, I did see all this crap. So I think this turned out very well. And so I guess until this sets up, geez, maybe you can actually start modifying the bridge. Yeah, okay, we'll do the bridge in the meantime, and we'll just step back and we'll put that in, which this is on this side. I already know this thing works. Of course, I only have a wired for which connector. Wrong side. Oh, or maybe not wrong side, it came off. One last little test. Okay, wrong side then. It's a problem with doing multiple red wires, and don't you be that guy too. Oh sh. I think I that one up too. Isn't it just my day? Fucking blowing up wires, blowing up LEDs left and right. Come on. Fucking blowing up LEDs left and right. Yeah, I blew that one up too. This is not my day. Not my day. So what did I do with this thing? I wasn't paying attention. I left it on 9 volts just to show you my little saucer mod, and these aren't resisted. And I fried them. Well, okay, at least I have a bunch of these. So I'm gonna go ahead and replace these. I'll probably have to make a whole new one of this. And obviously, this, obviously you know what this is. And obviously it needs to be modified. So let's just start with the rundown of the modifications. The 3 tabs in here that's meant to go in those 3 little holes in the saucer, cut them down because you got to move them forward. So they're not going to fit in those holes anymore. So just cut them down somewhat flush to this. And And now since we've sanded down the on top of the BC, yes, on top of the BC deck, which is supposed to raise this up for your spacing to put light in, but this thing's too far back. We're going to have to make our own. So I've already pre-cut out of thick polystyrene. I didn't happen to have any thick strips, so I just went ahead and just cut it out of my sheet and just kind of filed it down a little bit. And I've already pre-marked on where they got to go. If you can see here. Reason why there are like sets of 2 lines is by just taking a look at the studio model. And if you look at it, there's like on each side of the space, and there are like 2 little vents that are recessed in. I'm going to try and kind of recreate that. So basically, so my dirty fingers won't be in the way, is here where the black lines are is where it's supposed to be open into underneath the bridge. Right here and here, and of course back and all the way around is solid. But in here, in between here, is supposed to be a little spot recessed back where these vents are going to go. That just visually tells me on where to put these. And since these are what protrudes more forward, I'm going to deal with them. But first we're going to have to put in the back shuttle piece. This piece actually comes clear. I've put inside here a little dot piece of masking tape because there's supposed to be 2 little lights that shine through. And also on the back where it's got to go. And this is another shuttle bay door, and if you were paying attention to my a secondary hull videos where I kind of show on like how to recreate the little light that comes through here, this one's going to be even a lot easier because this piece is clear. I don't have to actually drill a hole angled, and I'm not going to put a photo etch part into here. All you really got to do is, because on both sides it's going to get, somehow this is going to get light blocked on the inside as well, which means back here is going to get hit. That's why I put the little masking tape on the back. Oh my God, that's what happens when my garage door was open today. Bastard. Oh, Goose and Maverick are flying around. Anyways, when it comes to that part, all you really got to do is just scrape a little bit of the paint away down back to the clear plastic and scrape away on the backside so that way light can show through, and the light that will show through will be coming from where I'm going to eliminate these 2 little, these 2 lights back here. So that makes that part even easier compared to the secondary hull. So I think right now is to kind of get this thing glued up. This one's going to have to go in first. Nice little squeeze. Get off a little bit of excess glue. Make sure it's all lined up. Okay, that one is put in. These ones are going to be a little bit tricky. Basically, because when you have the curve going on here, When it comes with these smaller ones that I've cut, I'm gonna let them kind of overhang on the ends, and I'm just gonna file, like smooth them down when it comes time to sand in. And I'm sure I'm gonna have to do just a little bit of putty work. So, trying to get this best as I can. Okay. It's a little nerve-wracking, really, come to tell you. Oh, you know, my piece rolled off. Don't roll off. Yes, there's going to be some fine sanding and putty work going on the edge of this, especially now that one piece rolled off. What I'm going to do is, just to make things a little bit easier for me, because I'm going to glue upside down here, just going to go ahead and transfer my mark to the front here. Okay. You know, kind of keep this in place here. I'm actually going to let it set up right here on my little table. Oh, there we go. Now I can actually like kind of hold this down, and it allows me to clean off some of the edge of the glue that's like protruding through. Of course, this got moved a little bit. Okay. going to give this a few minutes to set up, so that way I don't have to worry about these pieces moving, so I can actually cut the last piece to fit that goes right below the little airlock. And then be sanding. So, as I was mentioning before about the little vent thingies in here, this is kind of like what I did. And how I did that is the same way as I just made these strips here and just put pieces on the inside. Just kind of like that. So now the glue is dry enough to where you can start sanding it down and kind of planing it level. Now, I don't have an exact stopping point. I'm just going to go to where it's kind of even. Get this crap out of the way. This is a piece of 120 grit. Okay. I do have a plan for my spotlight. I have, well, what size are these lights? I think they're 0603s. These ones here, let me actually find the package. Oh, here they go. Got these little bastards from Amazon. Yes, they're 0603s. They typically come with the SMD kind of like, you know, encased in like some type of resin or something. So I just end up taking my little Dremel tool here and started like carefully trimming them down into kind of like this, just looking at the little light in there and just getting close as possible to it. The good thing about this, because it's on like, you know, a magnet wire, means it's very flexible, bendy. I can put it to wherever I want. So that's going to kind of help me as far as when I put it in here. I'm not going to actually have to glue the light directly to the bridge itself. I'll glue the wire. At least this way it gives me the opportunity to actually aim and push this thing around, and then I'll lock it in. But as far as this right now, I'm going to kind of use this as a gauge on how low can I actually take this down. So I can go a little bit lower. But I'm not worried about putting this in quite yet. Just a hair more. Go a little bit more. Things like hard to actually grip too. Almost there. I'm pretty much going to where I've actually grinded it down as close as I can. I'm trying to get like almost flush, about like a hair bigger, so it gives me room to move it around, and I think I'm already there. Now, I gotta actually round all this stuff off. So that's just easy to do. That's just, you know, just rolling it. Almost there. So close. Okay. A little bit of glue cleanup right here. Same thing here. Almost filed this one away. Just make a new one. All right, so now I'm happy with my curve here. It's going to take us still a little bit more. This one here is still a little flexy. I think I'll just go ahead and just a little dab of CA. Of course, it's locked in pretty good. I should use this one. Okay. Now it's actually going to take some putty work, because over on this side here, stepping a little. Same thing back here. So that. And also I want to clean up any little any little seam from this little modification. Do I want to do that? Over here I do. Is that enough putty? Yeah, I think that's enough putty. So, hard part is picking this up now. Now while I'm at it, where's my little pick? There it is. Trying to clean it out of some areas before it's too late. Okay, that will work. Puttied up. Now it has to just dry. And then just clean that up with some finer sandpaper and probably trying to figure out how to light the thing. Of course, after some light blocking. But it's starting to come along nicely. I may even add a little greebly to it just to sprucing it up. We'll see. But for now, just gotta wait for this to dry, because why? And now I sand the fucking putty. Okay, I'm happy with it. Actually, almost happy with it. There's a little bit more right here. Ooh, actually, I'm not happy. Just trying to square up the open ends a little bit. Try to shave a little bit down. Trying to make this one spot right here more pronounced. There we go. That looks a lot better. Give it a little something something. Little character kind of file it at an angle. Just to give it a little shape. All right, a little cleanup and some light blocking, and then some lighting. Well, here's another segment that involves technical difficulties. While recording this, I had no idea that my microphone went down my shirt, and I was just rambling away on this overkill of lighting that I have in the bridge. To kind of describe what's going on in it, for the rear end next to the airlock, I have two 0603 SMDs that portray the two little lights that you see on the outside of the bridge, as seen here. Then I also, for strobe, I have a 3mm white LED. And for the two lights that are on the forward side of the bridge, I have two white 5mm. And for the registry, I have up there are two white 0805, warm white 0805 SMDs, and I have them CA glued to a piece of magnet wire. The reason why I did that is to kind of give it like a little bar for it to hold onto, so that way it makes gluing and aiming them a lot easier instead of trying to fight with them one at a time. As far as like getting in place, just trying to, like, you know, try to set your bridge and then trying to get in there and pick at them and try to get them adjusted just right one by one, those little yeah, they would have been a pain. So I came up with this little idea. It's just getting them on there as like best as I possibly can, and then just kind of tweak the wire and kind of get it half-assed into place. And then, you know, then at that point you can just wire, like, give it some power, set the bridge on in there, kind of line the bridge up where the bridge needs to go, and kind of line the lights where they need to go, and then see them in place, and then we're just really good to go. And as you can see right here is an example of putting them in place. It's just I think this method came out really well. So that's how that works. Now here is just basically, you know, just kind of setting the bridge into place, and, you know, just getting a rough estimate, a rough fit on how it's supposed to go. And then the only thing really kind of left to do is to power it up, which you're about to see here. Power. Now obviously you can't see shit right now because I have these lights on. So let me kill this light. Now what these two beams are here is what's light leaking underneath the bridge. So as soon as I do that, press it down in place, then they're illuminated. But it's even through here, through the edge. But anyways, let's go deal with the front part of the saucer. Oh, by the way, the 0805s, those are, I prefer to have these in a warm white. Like I'm trying to keep the theme of my spots being warm white and the interior lights bright light. So anyways, for the position of the bridge, if I go really forward, like to the lip, it's like that, but it's like way too far forward. So I want to go as far back as I can. It's like right here above the phaser, I believe, is where it says Enterprise, and below it is where you have the registry number. As far as up on this upper part, I don't really care, so I want to make sure I can get it far back as I can and try to see on here as a guide, which I can see already that here, let me put the height back on. All right. And of course, power got disconnected. Anyways, as of where I'm holding this right now, it's the front of my lip here is literally, if I use what I'm trying to gauge off of is if you look at your fine detail, these sets of two thin lines, to me, I see this in place about 1/8 of an inch, not an itch, boy sure I do itch, from the edge of the bridge to the beginning of the detail. And I'll say probably about, in millimeters, 3 or 4 millimeters if you prefer it that way. So with that, I can let that go. Sorry, that's my distance. And as of right now, if I carefully pull this up, because I already, other than this one, undid it, I can go ahead and actually lock this in, and it's actually right where I want it. That way I don't have to fight it as you're trying to glue it in and set it and trying to push it, whatever. So it's already kind of where I need to go. So it's just a little bit of CA onto the wire itself, my little magnet wire holder. So this is pretty much done other than gluing that in place. So that's going to be the next thing I need to do. Just make sure I got a good surface. I'm going to go ahead and pre-clean the top of here. Yes, the rest of the top of the saucer looks dirty and whatever. Well, I haven't done, anything really to it as far as paint wise or anything. So that'll be taken care of when this part gets, when we're ready for paint. So, in case you're asking, what the with the tape? Well, what I got going on here is it's basically the outline of the bridge. I'm not going to put the glue on the bottom of the bridge just because I have all the wire in here, and it'll just make it easier if I just glue on the edge of the tape, and keeps it a little bit cleaner for whatever glue that comes out. It'll be on the tape instead of on the edge, just to save me a little bit, extra work. And I kind of pre-marked on areas that I don't need glue, which would be here and here, and here, of course, underneath the lights. So I guess we'll just go ahead and start throwing down some glue. See what I mean? I already got like too much of a amount already. It came out too fast, but it don't bother me. I tape. I will pull away the front though, just so I can confirm my placement. And I kind of use the two marks here as my guide. As I hold this sucker down. I'm liking it. So, I'm gonna use blue tape to hold it down. Hold her down. She's a, well, you son of a... Good thing it's motor glue, it's not set yet. Recheck. Okay. That's that. Guess I can pull off the back piece of tape. It's not 100% foolproof. Sorry about that. It's not 100% foolproof way, but it helps. Gives you just a little less work to deal with. Lock down the back side too. And what the heck, let's do the front. Nice and taut. So I'm going to have to let this harden up for a while, and I'll go ahead and off camera, of course, I'll wire it into the rest of the mumbo jumbo mess in here. And then I think after that, actually I don't think we will, we'll start modifying this piece for the bottom, so we can get closer and closer to putting the two halves together and start dealing with the other paint and detail work. So we're going to start modifying this thing. What we're going to modify is the front right here. I've already started by gluing in a couple of small pieces of polystyrene that's the same thickness of the edge. Why are we doing this? If you look at the studio model compared to this, you may not be able to see, but if you look where these two pieces meet, this is almost at a 90 degree. It's actually more towards, probably a little bit sharper than a 45. There are two ways you can do about it. You can not do this and just kind of sand and kind of put your own angle by sanding it up to the vents. But I don't want to do that. I don't want to make my line to the vents. So I decided to add more material. And I'm just going to cut away at it and then just sand it all down and throw in some putty. The other option you can do is just get the 3D resin aftermarket one of this. I believe they actually did correct that, and I think there's more. I think the dome is a different shape. In my opinion, I think, even though it really doesn't bother me at all, I can't really tell. That's why it's like a guess. I think the 3D printed dome, it's more higher, just a little bit more higher, and just not as like a shallow curve up here. That's just my guess. I don't have one here to compare, but I'm just going to go ahead and use this anyways, because this change doesn't bother me, and this, it's just a little extra work. You can actually make it happen. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to draw out pretty much where I need to go so I don't overdo it. By the way, I let these dry overnight. So first thing I'm going to do is just kind of, even though this is going to be a real pain to do, is just to draw out, just to continue my angle on. I got to figure out how the hell I'm going to do this. You know, may just have to do it with my little helpy mother. Just stick that in somewhere. Yeah, that'll work. And just match match the angle. If I can keep this thing still. What I need is something smaller. Or just hold it differently like this. There's that one. There's this one. And let's give it just like a bullish angle. Why I say a bullish angle is because I'll end up, when I'm sanding it flush on the face of it, it'll be just that. There's that angle. Switch hands here. Line it up. That and 45. Okay. So as you can see, there's the material I need to remove. So start by just doing it with little cutters here. Carefully, I don't want to break my piece off. Can't happen. There's one. Actually, there's no point of doing the top one. I don't know why I did that. By the way, just letting you know, the top line, you don't really need to do, because you're going to the edge anyways. It's the bottom one that you need to match up. So it should kind of look like that. Now I'm just going to take a little piece of sandpaper here. And probably just kind of dull up the tips of it so they're not super sharp. And actually, there's almost no need to kind of sand this part, even though I got throwing putty. But yeah, okay. I do have some dried mono glue here, so I'm gonna kind of take care of that a little bit. Even though I can see I'm a little bit shallow on the front of it, but that's what putty's for. So I'm gonna throw in some putty on this to get this started. I'm just going to put on it, leave it some extra putty on it. Easier just to sand it away. It's just a real small piece. So now this piece, gotta let the putty set up. Let's put that aside, and we'll kind of jump right back into the saucer section, mainly the BC deck. And there's something I kind of want to talk about, because I'm going to talk about it, and you're going to listen to it, or you're going to mute it. You're going to do something. I'm going to show you a couple little screenshots about the BC deck. I don't know if anybody actually noticed it or even does it on their builds. I've seen other people's builds, of course, on the wonderful world of TubeU, and I don't see them doing this. And it comes with the windows on the BC deck and on the recreational deck. Look carefully at those windows. Notice the color. Now, as you can see, those are like blue, like they're blue. They're more like teal. So I'm going to recreate that on this build here. And the way I'm going to do it is by grabbing some type of Sharpie like this in teal, even though this ain't Sharpie, this is Artist Loft. The reason why I got it, because I went to Michael's Arts and Crafts and they just happened to be out of the teal. Don't matter, it's the same principle. Good thing about this one, dual tip, which is actually kind of beneficial, especially for here, especially for these two over here. If you noticed that the 2 dot ones are teal, but at the same time, the way I plan on going about these windows is the same way as I went about these. I want to put that same thin polystyrene in front of it so you don't see all this crap in there. Now, if you don't want to do the polystyrene, but yet you want the teal windows, and if you're going to use the kit glass or you're going to solar res it, but you're not going to do any polystyrene, just color your windows, either inside or on the outside. If you use the glass or whatever, just color them in with this. What I decided to do, of course, I'm using the same polystyrene, but I cut out little squares of it and color them with the teal marker here. Then I'm going to go ahead right now and I'm going to just go ahead and glue those pieces in. FYI, using the extra thick CA. I'm just going to kind of put them at the windows, but not on it yet. I don't want my CA to kind of go inside. I'm putting it on the lip above. Well, above when you're looking at it in this direction. In this case, upside down. So now I'm just going to lay the window over it. Just to get it kind of locked in. And with all this lighting that's in this puppy here, it's going to be bright. So now I'm going to have to go back to this last corner one on the side over here because it's at a weird angle because of the officer's lounge. Wiring in my way. That one looks like I'm going to have to trim it at a 45. Just go ahead and use my little flush cutters here. And it should just fit right in. Need a pair of tweezers. Of course, those things just walked off, and I swear I just saw them. Oh, what the hell? Just grab it. Such a tight squeeze for this last one in here. Just get it right next to it. Okay. Now I'm going to go ahead and actually continue locking them in. Just a little dab of CA. Just a little bit. This one here wants to lift up underneath it. So I'll just put it on the bottom. I'll push that one down when I get to it. Same thing with this guy. Yeah, he moved. Lock it. Oh, you. Because now I'm trying to keep the piece like flush onto the window. The reason why that is because I'm going to CA these windows, not CA, I'm going to solar res them. And if I keep it flat, on the window itself, this one here, I'm going to have to zap it. It wants to keep lifting up. I just hit them all. It still wants to flip up. There we go. So now basically these windows are going to be teal. Now if I shine a light through it so I don't have to plug this in, let's see how this looks. Well, I can see it, but there we go. Teal looking windows here. Got my other light in there kind of in the way, but you can get the picture. You can get the picture. So now this one here, I believe I already explained it, but I put a piece of that packing plastic for this window. But it's even with the fine point on this, it's there, but it's not that great. So what I'm going to end up doing is when I solar res these ones, I'm just going to color this set, like either what I may actually do is just for these two little ones, just kind of go halfway. Actually, I don't think I can go halfway. They're kind of small. I wasn't going to go halfway and color it and fill the rest in. I'm just going to just color it right onto the window itself. And that should be fine too on the outside. So, but that's kind of what I want to do as well. Oh, by the way, I don't think I showed you yet. I've already, I puttied up over here. So this is dry. So that has to be dealt with. Matter of fact, I think that's what we should do with now is to get that going. So I got a little piece of sandpaper here. I need a fresh one, but this is a fresh little nub that was for obviously for down here. So we'll kind of take care of this real quick because we're going to be working right here anyways. And the thing is, I'm leaning to more solar resin these windows now and masking them off. Especially because I've been thinking about these ones. Because when I do the spray fill thing, I really don't want to get any of the paint inside and start, dulling up my polystyrene here. I've already have it diffused and I just don't want any more of it to happen. It would be different if I wasn't going to put the bottom saucer on, but when it goes on, I got to do that. I could probably plug all these up with some types of plugs I get from work, but then I'll have a lot of shadows and stuff from it. So I'm probably going to end up solar resin them early and then just masking off all the windows and leaving it on until basically the end. This is where a sand and stick would come in really nice. Yep, I'm gonna give you some new paper and I'm going to actually do a ghetto sand and stick. Okay, new paper, ghetto sand and stick. I don't mind a little bit of a rolled edge at the bottom of it. Kind of gives it a little something. Gotta be careful I have my two little line detail here, so I'm kind of going to have this at a little bit of an angle, so it's just the corner of my paper is working inside. And lift up forward so I don't hit this part. I mean, yeah, I can go ahead and scribe it back in, but trying not to do the too much extra work. Now there's a little spot right here. I can't get any paper in there, so I'm just going to lightly use the backside of my knife here just to kind of scrape some of it away. All right. Good, I still kind of have some detail here. It'd probably be smart just to clean it out, just to keep it fresh. I forgot, there's actually one more little bit of wiring that we need to do before I solar res these in. Just remember that right now as I'm just kind of like thinking to myself. In case you're asking, why am I sanding right here again? Because every time I kind of look at this thing, my eye is drawn to the lip of this bridge, because in part of fabricating, you know, the raised detail on it, some material was unavoidable that got removed on this edge over here, so it looks shallower than over here. So, and every time I look at it, it kind of draws my eye to it. So let's see if I can just kind of even it out. And it's easier to do, like right now with this bridge in place. And I'm sure I gotta light block all this again. That's no big deal. At least it'll tell me on how my seam work, my sand and seam work is. Right here, it still looks like a mess. Hey, I'm good with that. Okay, so now let's go back to what I was talking about lighting here. So my little bridge holder. So how I want to actually light this in here better than just bouncing off in here is I went ahead and made a couple more strips of my LED lighting, but I put it on thick strips of polystyrene. And the way these are going to go is they're actually going to sit, let me get this out of the way, like so. Come here, little bastard. Want to make sure my wires are not crossed. This. Make sure this is centered. And this light, ow! What the f? This light is centered. So, now I'm just going to glue in some strips on top of whatever. Yeah, I'll just put it right here. After I can get this just out of my way, start with this guy first, just on the end. Just make sure my lighting is centered. Throw in some glue so I can lock it. More. Push her down. Hold. Okay, you're locked. Same thing with this one. Gonna take a visual. About to there. Okay. Zap ya. Okay, so these are in place. So right now, I'm gonna go ahead and solder these together. The bridge and the BC deck lighting into this mess. And then we'll come back and see. By that time, hopefully my putty will be drying. We'll work on that. Now it's time to play with the fun stuff. The good thing about putting in those little teal pieces is that it actually blocks off this stuff from running everywhere. So I'm gonna try to set this up in a way that you guys can see me do it. Maybe here. It's not really comfortable for me. Okay. My pinky, just get rid of a little bit of the excess. Still can use a little bit more in the big one. And my hand's in the way, but believe me, it's going in. Little tiny air bubble. Pop it with, oh, popped itself, good. Happy with that. Hit it with my UV. It's a big window, so I'm gonna give it a few more extra seconds. Yada, yada, yada. Okay. Good thing is I can also come back and hit it some more. Let's see if I can do this one. All right, this is in my way. And I don't mind sanding a little bit of the residue off and ends up diffusing these windows a little bit, because that's kind of what I want it to be. It's also the good thing is when it's not lit, you can see the teal right through this. But if I diffuse it, it'll look white, but when it's lit, you'll still see the teal. Okay. Remember, you don't have to solar res your windows. I just want to on mine. All right. This one. Push the big window here. More is going to flow in. Little air bubble. Oh, there it goes. Since it's such a big window, I'm kind of keeping it on here, you know, a little bit longer. You know, you can't really say, oh, maybe you can, yeah. I was wondering if UV will actually be picked up through a GoPro. Okay. Now I'm just going to go ahead and give it a little more light just to be certain that it's cured, because I could only do it through one side. Then after that, we can continue on with the mod of the lower planetary sensor dome. Actually, before we get into the lower planetary sensor, I wanted to try something. Since I was monkey with the solar res, and I've been thinking, like, I want to solar res the officer's lounge window, but that's a big window. But what the heck? Sometimes you gotta take risks. Sometimes you gotta take risks to get rewards. So, and the reason why also I kind of wanted to do it anyways is because with the photo etch piece flush to the outside and the plastic piece on the inside, there is a thin gap between the metal of the photo etch, and that can get damaged easy because it's just space for it to move. So I said, what the go for it. So first thing I did is mask just all around the photo edge window. Because it's such a big window, there's a chance, you know, as you start filling in the solar res, it can kind of go everywhere. So make sure I did that. Then I kind of propped my saucer to where this is almost level. Then start working the solar res in one section at a time. Wait, and then I waited about a minute or so just to kind of let it settle, let it flow, let it level itself out, and see if it needed any more. A couple spots it was still kind of low. Add a few more drops, let it settle. You know, remember, this stuff's not going to cure until you hit it with light, so you have all kinds of time. So I let it settled and leveled out, and hit it with the light, hit it hard, hit it long, you know, right on it, because it's a lot of solar res. So that's where we're at now. And I'm looking at it, it's pretty good. I'm actually kind of impressed. So now I'm going to go ahead and pull this tape away and just give it its real test. I mean, if I can do it with these windows, I can probably do it with all of them. I may even do it later on with the Arboretum window. Oh, that's nice. still a little bit tacky from that first little touch. So the other thing I can do is to give it free UV is I can take this thing and put it out in the sun, which I think I'll do. And that time we'll be working on the other piece. It's dry enough to sand. So let's sand this. What I need is my little dumb stick. Oh, there it is. My little ghetto sanding stick. This is actually turning out pretty well now. There we go. So there's my angle here. This is probably the way you would normally see it. So a little bit more cleaning up of the. So time for some light blocking. And let's see. I haven't decided where to go to next from this. Either this or, well, actually, yeah, it would have to be this. Yeah. So after this, get it all light blocked and then kind of figure out how I want to eliminate the four ends of this thing. Because some of the dilemma I kind of see right now are these posts here. I mean, I could always remove them and just try to line it up, but I kind of want to keep them on. I have an idea in my head, but we'll go to that when we're about ready to do this. Time to light block this. So it's been some time for me. From the last thing, hopefully you noticed I have my kind of my teal windows done, whatever. My lining for the BC deck. Already went ahead and made my solar res windows. Something I did end up noticing at the last minute, just kind of looking through some screenshots, preparing on when I start editing this video here on what to insert and talk about. I was re-looking at the studio model bridge, and a couple angles I also noticed is, of course, you know, when raising the bridge up in this method, what I should have done on the edge was kind of almost, tape stuck to me, kind of put my little pieces, instead of at a 90 degree, I should have kind of tacked them out at an angle a little bit. But instead, I just went ahead and added more putty. And if you can see, it's more ramped down. And I will actually show you in a couple screenshots, like right here. See if you noticed that the bridge is at an angle. And take notice of the 3 gribblies on the studio model bridge. Well, for the polar lights, there's only 2, just the 1 and the 2. So I ended up went ahead and I made a 3rd one down here that looks just like the one in the studio model. And I just used a piece of polystyrene, the same polystyrene strip that I used for the spokes for the deflector dish. So I ended up adding my own right there, which was really good because it actually kind of breaks that up a little bit. And I ramped a little bit more over here. So that's where we kind of stand as far as the bridge goes, other than I need to kind of get into right into the flood lamp area and actually kind of paint over my magna wire that I'm using as to hold my little SMDs, because you just see a red line in there, so I gotta paint that black so you don't notice it. So that's where I wanted to update on the bridge. But after that, I also want to show you my planetary sensor here. Of course, you know, it's blacked out, and I've already did the wiring in there, but it's not glued in. So let me just kind of plug this in and show you my little effect, and then I'll take it out and show you what I've did on here. So maybe you can do the same if you want, and if you don't want to do the same, then tough luck. You should actually do the same as I did, because I mean, doing this for fun. Well, I am doing this for fun, but I want you to do what I do so we all can make crappy mistakes together. So let me cut my power supply. Okay, hopefully you won't get my wires down. So let me go ahead and kill this. So this is my lower dome here, and hopefully I won't lose power swinging this around. And if you see the rear, I don't know if it's going to show great in the camera, but I hope it does. I have two different, you know, colored lights on this. All right, time to put the main lights back on, because if you look in these screenshots, if you look at the rear of it, there are three lights for the back end of this. And just kind of, and if you noticed on the screenshot, that's from Star Trek 6, because it has a good view of this. And I think there's even one in the motion pictures, but you know, there are two squares and a circle one in the middle. So what I did on this one to kind of like offset it is I ended up putting the middle one a warm white and the two end ones a bright white, and I kind of, and it really looked pretty good. And I'm using different LEDs for this. I'm actually using 0805 spots for the center of all four, and I actually glued them to the face of the posts instead of like up to the plastic piece that goes in here. The reason why is because it's more of a rectangle, and I'm diffusing the little plastic part in there just to, you know, just so you don't get one tiny little spot. And of course right here I have my two bright 3mm bright whites for the end over there. Also, speaking on these little inserts here, the rear one for the polar lights actually has three squared ones, but the middle one is supposed to be a circle. So I just took a little round circle mask that came from my overall dry dock, the yellow sheet, and I just popped that one in there instead. So it'll end up making a circle for it. And I already have them kind of pre-painted. The reason why I need to do that is because I'm going to actually have this base coated and those already done. Then I'm going to mask that off in there and glue this in, and then it'll all get base coated as one, because I'm sure I'm going to have some putty work to do as this is attached. So this wiring has to need to be in here. So that's my method on that. Other than that, that's almost it. Other than as far as resistor goes for all this, I did all my SMDs on a 1200 ohm resistor on all together, so that way it'll handle all four on one resistor, because I have what, 6 lights here and I don't want 6 resistors. So that's what I did for that one. And as far as the two brights in here, I have on it a what I got here, it was a 560 ohm just for the two whites. So 2 resistors, 8 lights, just to kind of lighten this up a little bit. So this is pretty much all I have for 6 little LEDs in here. So honestly, I think this came out pretty neat. So this has to be glued into the saucer, into the lower saucer, but not wired yet, not until it's time to sandwich it. So the next little dumb little project that has to be done is, believe it or not, that my replacement bicolor amber blue LEDs came in today from HDA Hobbyworks. Got here pretty quick, thank God. So send me 10 of them with resistors. So all I got to do is I'll be okay to f up 9 of them. Just give me one that works. So that's going to be one of the next things that has to be done. And I decided to, if we think back on why they were kind of blowing up, is I think it's because I had a little metal washer in there, and I'm just going to eliminate all metal. So what I kind of have going on right now is I just cut a piece of polystyrene, my thickest sheet, made a couple circles, sandwiched two of them together. So it's drying now. So all I need to do is drill a hole in there and glue it on top, and then solder the wire in there, and then the saucer section wiring should be done. And this time I'm not going to test it directly to my power supply. I need to use my dumb little doohickey resistor on a wire. So anyways, so I'm going to go ahead and prep this little piece right now, and then I'm going to solder that thing right back in. Don't really need to see me do that. And then I guess that basically would be a good place to end this video right here. And then we can actually start on putting the saucer together and sealing up the whole sensor band area, putty in, spray filling, and get it ready for its base coat. And then after, when the base coats are all dry, we can actually go on to the part that I'm looking forward to, is start painting this thing up. Because after all, I basically have all the main sections built. Just paint them up and put it together. So with ado, just go away.